Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday Yoga. So we have a big, interesting topic. I don't know how many of you got around to doing the survey. And it's okay, whenever you do it, you'll do it. But the doshas give us insight into both our innate nature, which is the one we're born with. You know, some babies are super calm and some of them are cranky and and some of them are kind of like out to lunch, I guess. I don't know. But, and in life, our current state will manifest in our doshas. It'll change things up. But basically, these three doshas, which all of us have, everybody has all three. Most of us are dominant in one area or another of the doshas. So, Kapha, tech guy. Pitta, moi. Vata, I'm looking for who I would say is, oh, you think you're Vata? Oh, really? Okay, well, it can be interesting depending on what's going on in life. I mean, I certainly have Vata friends. Here's Miss Vata, welcome. I was looking for you, Ev. But the deal is nobody is one thing. And there are very flattering qualities to each dosha, and of course we like those ones. So, when it comes to Kapha people, they're very loyal, very stable, they're calm. Pitta people, and in fact, when it comes to energy, Kapha people store energy. Don't ask me why that is just yet. Then Pitta, talk about myself, it says that we manage energy, whatever that's supposed to mean as well. But intellect, intuition, passionate, like exudes passion and enthusiasm. And some of you know me and have seen me in many different arenas of my life and would know that was true. So these are the positive things. When it comes to Vata, we all need Vata because it's about air, it's about breath, it's about being creative in everything in life. Whether you're decorating or solving problems, we need to be creative. So all of these doshas are important and they're all good. One is not better than the other. For sure, one is not better than the other. But the things that are unflattering about these doshas, so I'll start with Pitta. We can become irritable, angry, easy. This is an imbalance of the dosha. Now, if the dosha is in balance, well, then most of what is good about that dosha will be revealed. But when the dosha is out of balance, in a person who registers more Pitta than the other doshas, then we have that tendency to be, controlling and bossy and a little bit, and it's like, and people are like, so it's good to notice that. And then, with Kapha, well, they're very comfortable without change. What did you say? Slob or sloth? Slow. Yeah, very slow. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, he knows. He likes to call himself Kafka. But, they're very, they can tend to be lethargic, lazy, and really don't want to change anything. Even if it's not good for them, no, I'll just be fine because change takes too much energy and I need to save my energy for the next nap or something. Okay, so fine. And we all see that in ourselves. Some days we're like, not doing it, not. And you know what? It's probably a good thing because probably you're feeling and that you need to balance things. So with Vata, and my friend Carmen, who was at class last night, she's really Miss Vata. She gets it. She's anxious, trouble sleeping, loves to dance, loves to jump around, and very, there's 5 conversations going on in her head at once. So that's out of balance. And then there are things we can do. Cinnamon and ginger are all balancing for all the doshas. Jojoba oil massage is really good. And and here's the other thing, and then we're going to get to something, but most of our issues, our physical issues, are an out of balance Vata, an out of balance air quality. So therefore, because we know Vata is like, they're not really on the ground, they're just woof, woof. And I mean, it's very Vata out there right now with all the change and which is great, right? We love it. And people who travel a lot, people who want to move a lot, because lots of people don't care to travel. That would be Kapha. You mean a little bit of travel, but nothing too out of this, you know. And again, I don't want to make, you know, I am making some gross generalizations, but when we notice that physically we're not well, and we already know this, you know, we have a lot of wisdom inside of us that we do on a regular basis that we don't acknowledge ourselves for. So when we are feeling a little bit out of sorts, we don't want to sit down and eat a bowl of raw vegetables. We want cooked, warm, comfort food. That's what we want. We want to be warm and cozy. We're not interested in standing on a cliff, you know, jumping up and down, jogging. You know, maybe we just want to go for a little slow walk and just help ground and settle ourselves. So we already know this, but I do want to say, again, 80% of our physical issues can be attributed to out of balance air. Now, I'm offering you a lot of things, but we're going to start with something real simple. So if you're able to sit up straight and tall, we're going to do a Samana Vayu mudra. So mudras are just hand positions, but I shouldn't say they're just hand positions, because all of your acupuncture meridians either begin or end in your hands or your feet. So hand mudras are gestures that we make with our hands, but you're really connecting all of your acupuncture meridians. And it's also interesting at this time, and we'll just get started and then I'll tell you a little more, but 4 fingers, you're going to bring them together and round them and let them each touch your thumb. And it's going to be both hands. So just bring your 4 fingers together and your thumb, and then you're just going to let them rest on your lap. So before we begin to even do this, try to make your spine as long and tall as possible. You can rest your hands on the back of your thighs, or on the front tops of your thighs, the backs of your hands. And just take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, physically lower your shoulders and relax them away from your ears. Keep your chest lifted and open, your collarbones nice and long. And if you need to, wiggle around and let that which is touching the ground settle down. And then often we have our head in a forward position, so just bring your chin back a little bit. It might create a double chin, but nobody's looking. There's no mirrors. So, and now you don't have to look at your fingers. You know when all of your fingers are touching, and just round them and bring them to meet your thumb. And then keep your hands resting on the backs of your thighs. So just while you're holding this Samana Vayu mudra, there are 5 ways that prana, that the life force moves through your body, 5 different ways. Samana Vayu is the direction that brings all of the prana into sideways across the body and into the solar plexus area. So you're really kind of bringing this subtle force of energy, of prana, of life force, and your meridians into the area of the stomach, the spleen, the pancreas, the liver, the intestine. All of this is being nourished. This mudra, hand mudra, also sends subtle energy and nourishment to your major nadis, Ida and Pingala. So we talked about this in the last session. It will come back again. I'm not going to go into that now. We don't have that much time for this. But suffice to say that this mudra will balance all 3 doshas. So once you do the quiz and we spend a little more time talking about each of the doshas, just to know the thumb represents fire, the index finger represents air, the middle finger represents space, the ring finger is earth, and the baby or little finger is water. But when it comes to the meridians, the thumb represents your lung meridian. The index finger represents your large intestine. Your middle finger activates the sex meridian. The ring finger activates triple warmer in the body. And I can't even go into this right now either. We don't have that much time. But suffice to say then that the little finger activates the heart and small intestine. So it's a little thing, and yet it's a big thing to sit calmly. And for those people who might feel like this is hogwash, well, that's okay, but I wouldn't discount a science called Ayurveda, which means the science of life, knowledge of life, having been practiced, and its roots are founded up to 5,000 years ago. So sometimes we have to suspend that thinking mind that wants to say, oh, nonsense, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes that's just the little mind that would rather be right than happy. And the little mind is equated to the ego. The ego would rather be right than happy. Just know that. If we're trying to argue a point, it's just our egos, you know, blah, blah. That's what it does. You can't get rid of it, can't kill it, don't want to. The ego is useful and helpful in a number of ways, and sometimes it's just not productive and a little bit destructive. So yoga has a lot to offer when it comes to helping us develop ourselves as human beings, as higher powers. But most of yoga, of course, deals with the physical, because we want to make sure as much as possible that our physical bodies do not become a distraction, a hindrance, an obstacle for us to develop ourselves in ways that may be beyond what we imagine we could be, but we shouldn't set any limits on what we can be. And a couple of weeks ago, I was looking into all of the people that we know of. Stephen Hawking's, of course, is one of the first examples, but even Eckhart Tolle, who spent so much time on a park bench after deciding to withdraw from pursuing a PhD in something that he found just not meaningful. Stephen Hawking, of course, Lou Gehrig's disease. I mean, maybe it was beyond that. ALS, pardon, yeah. And look what these people have accomplished. So, and it's not in our lifetime that we should do big things. We can do small things in a big way and make a difference to one single human being. And like that little pebble that we throw into a still pond, and we look at the rippling effect. That's the effect we're having on people day in and day out, whether we know it or not. And take another deep breath in. And on an exhale, bring your palms together, keeping your eyes closed, and rub your hands together, generating heat and warmth. And then cup them over your eyes, bathing them in this blue-black warmth. And then wash the sides of your face with your hands and remove your block or whatever you're sitting on, and come on down onto your backs with your knees bent and the soles of your feet flat on the mat. With your arms beside your body and your palms facing down, line up your heels with your sits bones. And lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart center. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest to lengthen the back of your neck. And then press the small of your back into the floor. On an inhale, tilt your pelvis up and peel your spine off the mat. Holding here. Perhaps lift your toes off the mat at this point to feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and your heel pressing into the floor. And one more breath in to lift up. And starting from the top of your spine, slowly release your torso back down onto the mat. And again, if you felt your heels or feet were too far away or too wide, make that adjustment right now. Keeping your palms flat on the mat, reaching your fingertips down towards your heels, pressing the small of your back into the floor. Just spend a moment here activating your abdominal, your lower abs, core muscles. And inhale, peel your spine off the floor. So we're going to make this practice just a little bit more yin, just to help us settle, balance our Vata nature. Whether we have a lot of it or not, calm, stable, balancing, staying close to the earth, all of these things help us calm our central nervous system. Breathing in, exhale slowly. Bring your spine back down onto the mat. And remember, if you're able to, breathe in through your nostrils. Lots of good reasons to do this, which I've been discussing the past few weeks. And last time, pressing your lower back, your lumbar back into the mat. Feel your core engaging. And inhale, peel your spine off the floor. And then I just want you to check in with your right and left hips here. You're going to lift your right leg off the floor. Notice how stable, strong your left hip is. Lower that leg down. Let's lift the left leg up, checking in with the right hip. Noticing the strength. Back down, and just in case, let's do it one more time. Right leg up. Take your right leg out to the side. Back up. Back down, left leg up, out to the side, back up, and back down. And you're still holding Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Breathing, one more breath in. Exhale, starting from the top of your spine, slowly bring it all down. Draw your right knee up and draw your left knee up. Place your hands on top of your shins and make some big circles on your back. So the wider your knees are, the more territory you can cover. And go as slow as you like. Be thorough, just checking in. It's a nice self-massage. And then extend your left leg down in front. Keep your right knee bent. Interlock your fingers 2 inches below. Be sure your shoulder blades are on the mat. Your shoulders may be slightly off the mat. Pulling in, pressing into the ascending colon. And then place your right hand on the inside of your right knee with your left hand on your hip bone. So you can feel your hip bone, and then open up. So you're keeping your left hand on your hip bone, so you're not going to roll the hip over to the right. You're keeping your left buttock on the mat while you open your right knee to the right side, stretching the inner thigh, groin, adductor muscle. And then inhale, bring your knee back to center, place your left hand on the outside of your right knee and draw it over to the left side, extending your right arm out to the right side. And you're taking your knee as far over as you need to feel some stretch throughout the hip, the glute, and breathe into this area. Prana is the life force that we need to survive. Prana is contained within oxygen, and the trees and the bushes are freely distributing a greater and the greatest amount of oxygen at this time of year. So naturally, we all feel a little more alive. And by the way, if you've been thinking about picking the dandelions and eating them, not a bad idea. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. Bring your right knee back to the center. Pull it in. Reach your hands up towards your ankle. Shoulder blades should still be on the mat. Your leg is mostly straight, but it's probably slightly bent at the knee. Inhaling in place. Exhale, pull the right leg towards you and bring your head, your nose, your chin towards your shin and your knee. Alternate nostril breathing is the best breath to also balance all three doshas. And release your head back to the floor. Keep your legs straight up in the air. Bring your arms beside your body. Lengthen your leg, and then using your muscular structure, lower your right leg slowly, activating your quadriceps, the front of your thigh, strengthening your hip flexors, needed for climbing stairs or in and out of things, boats, canoes, kayaks. And if you feel your shoulder blades have moved up, lift them up, tuck them under your heart center, tilt your chin again to the center of your chest, inhaling in place, exhale, draw your left knee up and interlock your fingers 2 inches below, and pull into the chest, compressing now your descending colon. Placing your right hand on your right hip bone, your left hand inside of your left knee, and press it open to the left side. So dandelions, besides containing vitamins A, B, C, and D, and of course fiber and phytochemicals, all vegetables contain phytochemicals, which ward off all kinds of chronic issues and diseases, contain something called inulin. And then draw your left knee back to the center and place your right hand on the outside of your left knee and draw it over to the right side. So inulin is a substance, you may have seen it in stores as a supplement, but it's actually a prebiotic, and it's contained in dandelions. So dandelions has a prebiotic. Prebiotics feed probiotics, which are live microorganisms. You don't need to take probiotics every day of the week unless you are, say, recovering from taking antibiotics. So yeah, probiotics is a good idea. You need to repopulate the healthy flora, bacteria in your gut microbiome. And inhale, bring this knee back to center, pulling it in, and then reach your fingers up towards your ankle. Shoulder blades remain on the floor, your head too if possible. Inhaling in place. Exhale, pull the leg towards you as you bring your head, your chin or your nose towards your knee. Breathe. Breathe into those hamstrings. And release your head and shoulders. Keep your legs straight up. Bring your arms down by your side. Lift that leg out of its socket to some extent and lengthen and lower slowly, using muscles, not gravity. And you can either roll over onto your side, or if you like, bring your hands underneath the backs of your bent thighs, legs, and rock up to a seated position. And let's bring our legs straight out in front. Pull the flesh away from your sits bones. Sitting up nice and tall in Dandasana, the basis of all sitting postures. Hands beside your hips with your fingers pointing forward. So you can kind of prop yourself up and lengthen through your spine. Because right now, we're not perhaps stretched out through our core and hip area and lower back. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, lifting out of your waist, reach up. Exhale, with a flat back, folding forward, keep your spine nice and long, keep your feet flexed. So perhaps you can only go a quarter, eighth of the way, it's okay. Yoga's non-competitive, we're all working with different body types, different levels of flexibility. One more breath in to reach forward and up. Exhale, lengthen, and let your hands organically fall wherever they do, whether it's your ankles, your calves, or if you're able to reach your toes. Inhaling in place, lifting your heart to lengthen your spine. Try to make your neck, cervical vertebra, part of the spine. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold whatever amount you can. Don't do too much. You are a fine instrument. Don't make yourself too tight or add stress. We're here to release it and to stretch and to breathe and just to focus single-mindedly on how our bodies are feeling, to be curious, really, absolutely non-judgmental. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling. Maybe you can go a little bit further, maybe not. Can just be a thought, an idea at this point. When I started yoga, I absolutely abhorred forward folding. I didn't mind the back bending, but I really didn't like the forward bending at all. I wasn't flattered by it, I wasn't good at it. But over time, with commitment and practice, we can improve at anything. And one more breath in to lengthen, and exhale. And on an inhale, walk your hands back up and just take your Dandasana one more time. Closing your eyes. Feel the difference of one forward fold and how different it feels now to sit in Dandasana. And of course, if you look at a little baby, they have no trouble. They haven't even really developed their muscles yet, but they don't have the stress and the tensions in their bodies. They're just little rubber balls. Okay, take your legs wide apart. And then again, pushing yourself up from behind, lifting up, flex your feet. So flex your feet a lot. Point them, yep. You might flex them so much your heels might come off the floor for a moment. Inhale, sweep the arms up. We're going to go sideways over to the left first. So inhaling in place. Exhale, sideways to the left, undoing the mirror image. Take hold of whatever you can with your bottom hand, reach with your top hand. So I was listening to a friend of mine up in Goderich, someone who, she's a friend, but she's also a teacher for me, a mentor. Katrina Boss is her name. If you're looking for interesting podcasts or little meditations on all things yoga, she's a great resource. And inhale, reaching up. And exhale, other side. Again, using your bottom hand. So she was talking about the idea of perfection. Sometimes we don't do something, me included, all of us, we don't even try something because we say, well, you know what, we're not going to be good at it, so why bother trying? And her idea that she was expressing about perfection is if you start something and you complete it, isn't that just perfect? Isn't there a perfection in starting something and finishing it, whatever it is, whether it's planting a garden, cleaning the interior of your car, whatever it is. It's not about, perfection's a moving target anyway. I mean, look at athletes. They can't say that, well, that was perfect, it'll never get better. Watch them. They improve all the time. And that's where Pitta comes in, that passion, that desire. So we all have that fire. Inhale, coming up to the center, reaching up, lifting up, exhale, forward fold. I mean, the other thing about not starting a project or saying we can't do something is because somebody back in our past, could have been a parent, could have been a teacher, could have been anybody at all, said, well, you'll never be good at that. And of course, as a little kid, we don't forget certain things. And they're stored in our bodies, and they may be flying under the radar. We may not even be aware of it. Take your peace fingers, take hold of your big toes if you can, and inhale, lift your hearts, lengthen your spines. Exhale, forward fold. So it's this idea of judgment, limiting ourselves, self-limiting ideas, or just judging ourselves before we even start, or starting and then having that knee-jerk, well, I knew I wouldn't be good at that. Anyway, just to be aware. Because I think the worst thing in the world, and I know one of my dearest, oldest friends who died at 97, he says, Joey, you won't be lying on your deathbed thinking about the parties you missed. And bring your hands into the center and walk yourself back up. And he's right. I'll be lying on my deathbed thinking, I didn't do what I said I wanted to do. And I don't want to be that person. Okay, let's bring our legs back together. Bang out the backs of your knees. Pull the flesh away from your sits bones. And it's never too late to start anything. I still don't know how to water start windsurfing, and I think someday I will. I don't know, I'll have to move to Aruba. Okay, so let's place left foot outside of right knee. Interlock your fingers, pull your knee towards your chest, flex the foot of the straight foot. So feel your torso, feel your sits bones really pressing into the mat, lengthening up through the spine, shoulders down, neck long, reaching up through the crown. Bring your left hand behind you to prop yourself up. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, you can either reach the elbow to the outside of the knee. If that doesn't feel good, then wrap the elbow around the knee. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, twisting. So breathing through the nose, just as a reminder, nose breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Mouth breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight. So activating the parasympathetic nervous system, it calms and rests the body and the mind. One more breath in. Feel those sits bones, otherwise you're sitting backwards. Exhale, release, and counter twist to the other side. And come back to the center and release that leg and bang it out. And bring the other foot to the outside of the knee. Interlock the fingers, pull your torso towards your thigh, flex the foot of the straight leg. And then place your right hand behind you. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, twist and turn, or wrap the elbow around the knee, whichever feels best. Breathing through your nose, it's your first line of defense. It creates something called nitric oxide. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. Nitric oxide can defend us against invading bacteria and viruses. Nitric oxide also helps balance the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide that your brain requires to function well. And of course, when we breathe in through our nose, we warm and humidify the air that goes into the lungs. So here's a benefit of being Pitta. I have a good memory. Intellect is a strong part of my dosha, whereas, and I have friends who are Vata, and they say, my memory's horrible. So again, but Vata, very creative, they're very active, they're fun, they're enthusiastic about playing and doing stuff, So when I want to do a lot of things, it's often my Vata friends that I'm going to call because they're, yeah, let's do that. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale. And twist to the other side and come back to the center. And then if I need to be just calm and settled, I'll call my Kapha friends. They won't want to do anything. Just hang out, sit around, and that's good too, right? All right, so inhale, bringing the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana, and inhale, lift your chest. And if you can muster anything, I'm actually dealing with a little bit of piriformis and psoas work right now. I can really feel it. So I don't think I'm going to hinge. Well, I'm just going to test the waters. You can hinge forward a bit. This is excellent for your sexual reproductive organs and glands. And it's not like we have to be using them, but we don't want to lose them either, right? And inhale, come back up, and then bang out the backs of your knees. Take a sip of water if you need. And bring yourself onto your knees. Curl your toes under. Roll back onto the soles of your feet and let your upper body just hang out for a moment, including and especially your head. We're holding it up all day. We're leaning it forward. We're stressing out the muscles in the neck, the vertebra, the tendons and ligaments. So just let your head hang for a moment. Getting your head below your heart means you're getting extra blood supply into everything below the heart at this point. And then pressing the soles of your feet into the floor. Slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, keeping your chin tucked into your chest and letting it be the last thing to come up. Inhale the shoulders up. Exhale, bring your fingers behind your back. Take your feet the width of the mat. Turn your feet out just a little bit. Bend your knees. Drop your hips. Inhale, lift your hearts, lift your gaze. So inhaling in place. Exhale, forward fold your torso between your thighs, bringing your arms up and over as much as you're able. And release your arms and just let them dangle. And then slowly rolling back up. Head slash the thing. And then interlock your fingers the opposite way. You'll feel it. Interlock your fingers behind your back, opposite way. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, bend your knees, lift your hearts, lift your gaze. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. And release your hands to the floor. Walk your feet in towards one another, and then slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. And that will do. So we can do our sun salutations both yin and yang. We'll start with a yin version and then we'll do a yang version. And you know, I was talking last night too about hot yoga. Me being Pitta, it's painful. I've done months of it. I like what it does for my body, but I absolutely hate it. And I hate jogging too. I got enough fire and enough that, no, I need just walk. Okay, so you know, if you feel that way too, I mean, there's all kinds of yoga, and yoga works great. Hot yoga, it's good for kapha, puts a fire under their butts, and Vata. There you go. Can you hear him back? Okay, they hear you out here. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart for balance, reach up, look up, and arc back, whatever amount. And then inhale, bring your feet back towards one another, lift out of your waist, forward fold, reaching, almost like poetry in motion here. No jerky movements, fingertips to the floor, please let your head hang. Step your left leg back, drop your knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your right knee and focus your gaze for balance as you lift your back knee off the floor, press through the heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up, fingers are active. Really press through that back heel, press that heel down. Nice stretch for the calf muscle, the Achilles tendon. For all of us who are thinking about racket sports, you need to keep your Achilles tendon stretched, warmed. Bring your hands down onto your mats and take your other leg back. Now, whatever push-up position works for you, it could be your knees on the mat with your ankles crossed, drawing your heart center forward, or if it's too much pressure on your wrists and you're on your knees, take your heart center backwards. Make the adjustment that shows that you care, have compassion and respect for how your body is today. Breathing, pull your bellies in, keep your core active, and then release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are, and slowly take your hips back towards your heels. Feel the release of stretching your spine, your shoulders, your arms, and your wrists. Breathing in through your nose, and if you need to, breathe out through your mouth. And then slowly, staying low, bring your forearms and elbows onto the floor or close to the floor. And when you're able, release your chest and your chin onto the mat. And then slide everything out behind you. Align the tips of your fingers with the edge of your shoulders. Release your forehead to the mat. Bring your elbows into your side body. Flatten the tops of your feet so that your toes are pointing backwards. Push your forearms down towards the floor to move the shoulders away from the ears. Roll an invisible alley with your nose. On an inhale, without using your hands, lift your head, neck, shoulders, and chest, coming into baby Bhujangasana. Keeping the elbows tucked in, eyes rolling up to your third eye, between your eyebrows in the center of your forehead, Ajna chakra. So when some people think that yoga is just a bunch of contortions and twists and bends, and no, it's a science addressing all aspects of life. One more breath in, exhale, and lower. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet a few inches forward, and then bending your knees, press your belly onto your thighs, your chest towards your knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Be sure you're pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. And then pressing your sits bones towards the back of your mat, lower your heels towards the mat. And just breathe here and notice, it takes some strength to hold downward facing dog, but feel the energy that's surging up through your hands and your feet, earth telluric energy, and breathe. Now lift your left leg up in the air, tip it over to the right, look under your right armpit, and say hello to your foot. And then bring the leg back out behind you. Look at your left hand. Swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward. And let your upper body hang in Uttanasana. Please relax your head. Know what it feels like. Give your head a little shake so you know you're not holding. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Pull your bellies in to protect your lower back. Bring your arms right beside your ears. Sweep the arms in front, reaching up, feet apart for balance. Look up, arc back. Inhale, bring your legs back together, lift up. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees, arms sweeping out to the side, circling overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer, Anjali Mudra. And release your arms for a moment and just spend a couple of seconds in Tadasana, mountain pose, thighs engaged, sternum lifted, shoulders down, crown of head floating up. And give your legs a shake out. And let's do a yang version. So we're just going to speed this up a little bit. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart, arms up, reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhaling, stretch up, exhale, forward fold, let your heads hang. Step your right leg back, drop the knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your left knee, focus your gaze, and lift the back knee off the floor and inhale, sweeping the arms up. Fingers are active. Turn your hands forward, bring them to the mat, taking your version of a plank position. Remember to keep your core engaged. Don't let your head hang or poke it up. Try to align your neck with your spine, pressing all 10 fingers into the mat, and then release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, toes are pointing backwards. Slowly take your hips back towards your heels, stretching. Really stretch and press your hips towards your heels, and then keeping your hands where they are, stay nice and low, bum in the air, and releasing your chest and your chin. Awkward, but awesome for the spine's alignment. Send everything out behind you. Align your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders, forehead on the mat. Bring your elbows into your rib cage and press your forearms to the floor. Now, if you're thinking to come into the fuller expression, then widen your feet and press your toenails, tops of your feet and your toenails into the mat. Roll an invisible alley with your nose. Everybody starting in baby cobra, pressing hips and pelvis as you lift your head, your neck, chest, and shoulders. And then, if you wish, press the floor away from you. Don't let your elbows wing out, and don't let your shoulders climb up. Breathing. Inhale, exhale, lengthen as you lower. If you separated your feet, bring them back towards one another. Inhale, lift up into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend your knees, belly to thighs, chest to knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Press all 10 fingers into the mat so you've got space in the inside of your palm. And then press your sits bones towards the back of the room. This will lengthen your spine. And press your heels towards the mat. And breathe. Feel the stretch in the backs of the knees, the calves, the Achilles tendon, which wraps around your heel, connecting with your plantar fascia. Lift your right leg up in the air, tip it over to the left, and look under your left armpit. And bring it back behind you. Look at your right hand. Swing that foot as far forward as possible. Other hand forward. Let your upper body hang. Arms beside your ears. Pull your bellies in. Engage your thighs. Sweep the arms straight out in front. Reaching up. Arcing back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Sweep the arms overhead and up. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, and give your legs a good shake out. And take a sip of water if you like. Okay, eagle pose. All of your joints, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, they all get involved in this one. So, galvanize yourself, take a couple of deep breaths. Remember, if your balance is a tad wonky, so in eagle pose, and just show you quickly, you definitely have to bend your legs a lot. And you're lifting one leg up and over, and you're trying to wrap it around. However, if your balance is a little wonky, just park the foot on the top of the toe or the ball of the foot on the floor, okay? So, not doing the mirror image, too confusing for me. Take your arms out to the side, and let's bring the left arm under the right. Left arm under the right. Give yourself a hug. Taking hold of your shoulder blades. And then release your arms. And you may only be able to bring the backs of your hands together, or maybe you can bring one hand in front of the other. Okay, so with your left arm under your right, your left leg is going to go on top of the right. So just the opposite. All right, so let's bend the knees, shift the weight onto the right leg. So come up onto the ball of the left foot, and you need to take your time for balance. Wait for your own inner cue. It's not mine. When you're ready, focus your gaze somewhere on the floor. Lift the left leg up. Wrap it around as best you can, bending the standing leg. And releasing, carefully sweep the arms out to the side. This time bring the right arm under the left. Take hold of your shoulder blades. Then release your arms. Take your time here. So either the hands, one behind the other, or, and you know we have bald eagles in Toronto, but they are not revealing. They had babies. Did y'all know that? It's pretty great. I love hearing some good news once in a while. Okay, so now that our right arm is underneath, the right leg is going to go on top. So now you're going to shift your weight to balance on your left leg. So come up onto the ball of the right foot. Take your time. Focus your gaze. Lift the right leg up. Wrap it around and bend your knees. And release your arms, sweep them up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And let's take one horseman's pose. So chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your knees. Bring the weight of your body more into the back of your foot. Be sure you can see your toes in front of your knees. Sit as much as you can, why they call it chair pose. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. So great, obviously leg, hip, core strengthener. Exhale, forward fold. Let your heads hang. Bend your knees, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer. Turn sideways on your mat and turn your legs out, or toes out, as at least one leg length apart. Bring your arms out to your side. You are 5 pointed stars. Exhale, lead with your hearts, forward fold, halfway, tabletop your spine. Tense your fingers underneath your face, and inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up, stretching up, maybe looking up, but eyes can be closed if you like. It always helps us go in, closing our eyes to reduce the amount of things that we see and then think about. Fingertips to the floor. Let's sweep the other arm up, reaching up, stretching up, and looking up. Pratyahara is what we call it. It's higher on the rung of Ashtanga Yoga than the asanas. Withdrawal of senses. And then let's lunge over to the left, bringing your bum as close to your heels as possible. Inhaling up and over to the other side. And one more time. Let's do both sides. And back into the center. Last time, other side. And walk your feet in together. And if you have something to cover your eyes or want to, please locate that right now and bring yourselves into your final asana, Shavasana. Flat out and relaxing. Turn your palms up in the open and receiving position. Close your eyes. Let your eyeballs sink into their sockets. Allow your bodies to be soft and heavy. And just do a quick scan to notice if you're holding anything. Just let go. Absolutely let go. Remember our diaphragmatic breathing from last week? If you want to, you can put a hand on your chest and one on your belly just to be sure you're getting this right. The chest hand should not be moving, just the belly hand as you inhale through the nose, expanding your diaphragm, which pushes up on your abdominal organs, which is the belly rising. Exhaling, letting it fall. So remember, we need Vata for creativity. We need Pitta for passion. We need Kapha for stability. So when and if you have done the quiz, just remember it's not going to tell you a lot. It's a start, but Ayurveda is truly a lifelong journey. And that survey may just be the beginning for you. Inhaling sun, warm, yellow, positive. Exhaling moon, cool, blue, negative. Sun, warm, yellow, positive. Moon, cool, blue, negative. Sun, warm, yellow, positive. Moon, cool, blue, negative. Inhaling the life force long, full, and deep, and deep. Exhaling. Long, full, deep. Inhaling. And very deep. Exhaling. One more time. Inhaling very, very deep. And let it all go. Stretch your arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch. Point feet far. Flex and point. Drop your arms down by your side. Take a moment to roll over onto your side, bending your knees, using perhaps your bottom arm as a pillow. And when you're ready, press yourself back up into a seated position. I read a poem a couple of weeks ago. It's from a book called The Darkness and the Light. It was called Angel Power. This one, help me be a voice for those still silent. Help me inspire peace in a world so violent. Help me share the light with those still struggling in the dark, and help me to always keep an open mind and a humble heart. Thank you for coming and sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Salutation and prostration, memories, always Suffice, many thanks to all saints. Thanks, everybody. Any questions or comments are welcome.